Hey everybody, welcome back. Well, Matt, I want to dive right into it because you had a lot of meat in the conversation yesterday, and it was really inspiring. So much so that as soon as I listened to your video, I started recording in my car, just so I had some notes, because I had a lot of freeform thought going on, and it really inspired me in many ways. So, as we've mentioned before, our home life now is drastically different. You're home alone as a single man with a beautiful house, working on that, getting it together, having a lot of quiet time to yourself to reflect. And as with anything, there's a balance that comes with that. I'm sure that quiet time is fantastic and helps you kind of reground yourself and restabilize, but I'm sure it's also can be lonely at times, and that's always the challenge of life, right? We have the hot and cold, the light and dark that goes with it. For us, drastically different. 3 girls under the age of 5, one being 8 months old. We're around each other all day, every day. Some days there can be a lot of emotional energy, so just dealing with that, the balance of that can be a challenge. However, that being said, this time has been so amazing. The bonding time with my family, the bonding time with my wife. Crystal and I have really found much deeper levels of connection and communication through all this. Now, partly because we're taking time individually to do some assessments on ourselves, to go within, to, just take time to work on ourselves, but also coming together. We just communicate more efficiently now. We squash things way easier. We find joy in the little things. Even when it's nuts in the house and it seems like everyone is screaming, we sometimes lose our patience, but more often than not, one or the other of us kind of steps in and balances it out, makes a joke, does something. And the same holds true if we get in a disagreement. We're able to squash these disagreements so much quicker. Through humor, through just navigating ways to get around what isn't really that important in the first place. Communication is critical, but oftentimes in any kind of partnership, when you hit that wall, you can either keep pushing through it and I gotta make sure I'm right and they hear me and that they see that I'm right, or you just take a breath. Sometimes it means stepping away for a few minutes, coming back. Sometimes it means cracking a joke, but I can definitely tell you that having this time to reflect. I've been doing a lot of meditating, exercising. We've each found ways to occupy ourselves and do things that spark our own passions. So that's been really helpful. And so while you and I live drastically different lives, the commonality is that we're both taking this time and using this time to really take stock in ourselves and to strengthen our inner beings, to make sure that we're coming out of this stronger than we were before. Now, you mentioned working on your house. As you know, we talked about it, we were actually considering selling our house. Before all this, we were working on a film for about 5 months. Crystal, 3 girls and I moved down to be closer to the sound stages and lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. When we came back, we were considering selling the home. We felt it was a little too big for us, and we were gonna maybe downsize, maybe make a little money on the house and whatnot. Corona hit. All of a sudden, we fell back in love with our house in a way that we never expected. So what we've found is just this really deep relationship with our home now. It's almost ethereal, to be honest. The more we tune into it, the more the relationship with the home develops, the more we almost hear what it wants or what needs to be done. So we've poured a lot of loving energy into it. And look, maybe that's the human mind just making things up. It doesn't really matter. What Crystal and I have found is this deep appreciation and gratitude for this beautiful home that we're living in. And the space that we have, what we used to feel was a little too much space, has now been perfect because it gives us as a family space to come together, nourish each other, but it also gives us space to have some alone time. And keeping that in balance is what I'm finding is critical for successful relationships across the board. Filming these every other day has been great because it's given me a creative outlet. I get away for, a couple hours and just do my thing. Normally after that, I then go exercise. So I have this little routine that's been really, really working for me, and I love that. Matt, I hear you. This time, finding this balance, finding this grounding, particularly in a business like ours, which can take everything if you let it, has been extremely healing. And Matt, I think it's really, really important in the big picture, talking about self-care. So many artists in particular, but not just artists, people in general, they forget how important it is to take care of themselves, mentally, spiritually, physically. And when any one of those things is out of balance, you cannot bring your best to whatever you're doing. Now, today's post, yesterday and today's posts are probably a little deeper than we always are going to be going, but it is really important for us to share what we feel. And part of what makes our kind of balance, Matt, you and I, so strong is that we can go all in when it comes to business, when it comes to sculpture, when it comes to the creative aspect. But we also really care about community, we really care about people, and we just want to see people excel and be their best. Well, that first and foremost starts with caring for ourselves. And we as leaders have to be an example of that. We're not perfect, but the point of it is to take daily stock in yourself and try to be better today than you were yesterday, right? And I think that we have this golden time to do this right now and really invest in ourselves. Now, Matt, the question you asked yesterday was super inspiring for me. What is it that makes me feel the most connected to someone else? And in a nutshell, it's honesty. And I don't mean just telling the truth. I mean the willingness to be open and honest, to put yourself out there, to show your true self, to be willing to express all of it and put that out on the table. Now that takes time and trust, I know. But when I feel the deepest connections to other human beings, it's when that veil is lifted and we can communicate from here to each other. We can be vulnerable, we can be open. We don't have to try to put on the mask of perfection, because at the end of the day, when you strip it all away, we all are works in progress. And when we try to put these masks up, these walls up, pretending we're something bigger or better than we are, we fail to connect on the deepest levels possible. And for me, the most valuable relationships in my life are ones that are built on honesty, on trust, but also openness, where you can just be open about how you're feeling. And that's been a long journey for me, and I'm still on it, finding more authentic, honest ways to communicate. But I know and I recognize the more I go within, the more I'm able to speak my truth without fear of being judged. Because I feel that's a lot of the challenge for many people, is that if they feel they're going to be judged if they open up to others, if they show their true selves. Well, I kind of look at it this way. If someone's going to judge you for being your true self, then they've just shown you their true colors, and that's probably good to not be in a relationship with them. We don't need people that are going to judge us for being authentic. And that word authentic gets thrown around a lot, I know nowadays especially, but I think authenticity of your character, of your truth, is super important. And only you know what that is. No one else is you. No one else can tap into you to speak that. So having relationships with people that are willing to do it with you and that you can do the same, it just creates this beautiful harmonic relationship that can continue to build. So Matt, I want to ask you the exact same question. What is it that makes you feel the most connected to someone else? Because I think it's important we both answer this one, put it out there. I had another question, but I'm going to save that for another video. So thank you for watching. If you have any comments or questions, or you want to see us talk about anything else, please put them below. We appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a beautiful day.